The origin of awakening. What is an autonomous mind? The interval between two shores of motion. In a world operating at a dizzying velocity, where every ticking second is saturated with external stimuli, humans easily default into the state of a dry leaf swept away by the shifting winds of happenstance. We react to everything: a critical email from a superior, a thoughtless comment on social media, a minor fluctuation in the economic market, or even the subtle knitting of a confidant's brow. The vast majority of an ordinary life is consumed within this infinite chain reaction. But do we ever pause to ask, what is the true essence of autonomy? Is it the erection of a fortified wall to isolate oneself from the cosmos? Or is it wearing a cold, detached mask before the endless mutations of life? In truth, autonomy does not bear the structure of a sealed fortress. Nor is it a state of bitter solitude or engineered amnesia. When diving deep into the architecture of behavioral psychology and ancient philosophy, one realizes that autonomy is the capacity to master the interval between stimulus and reaction. Imagine our consciousness as a vast, open expanse. When an environmental stimulus appears, be it a sweet compliment or a razor-sharp criticism, it resembles a stone cast into that expanse. For an unawakened mind, the moment the stone strikes the earth, an immediate, instinctive reaction explodes. This rapid-fire reactivity is frequently mislabeled as sharpness. But in clinical reality, it is the definitive proof of being imprisoned within the pre-installed templates of the past. Conversely, an individual possessing an autonomous mind engineers an invisible yet potent interval immediately following the stimulus. This interval is not the hesitation or vacillation of the weak. It is the consecrated space of self-awareness. Within this interval, time appears to dilate. This is the space where humans cease to be piloted by biological impulses or ancient traumas. It is where they observe, comprehend, and proactively select the behavior that aligns seamlessly with their core values. The psychiatrist Viktor Frankl, a survivor of the bleakest Nazi concentration camps, left an immortal concept in his work Man's Search for Meaning. Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. That specific interval is the origin of all awakening. Instead of viewing occurrences as chaotic webs that breed obsession and stasis, the autonomous mind perceives them as raw materials waiting to be transmuted. When you can stand firm within this interval, you cease to be a casualty of circumstance and instead become the creator of a new experiential architecture for your own life. The caliber of deep water. To vividly illustrate the morphology of an autonomous mind, let us turn our gaze toward the vast ocean. An autonomous consciousness carries the absolute caliber of deep water. When standing before the sea, the human eye is easily hijacked by the raucous, white-capped waves crashing upon the surface. Those waves represent the daily friction of existence, fleeting emotional spikes, informational static, and public gossip. On a sunlit day, the surface sparkles with superficial joy. During a tempest, it churns with rage and anxiety. Individuals with an unformed interior reality are those surface waves, easily elevated to a crescendo by a single compliment and instantly shattered into the depths by a lone critique. They lead a turbulent, precarious life, entirely dependent on the wind direction of external conditions. However, if one dives hundreds of meters beneath the oceanic surface, an entirely separate reality is discovered. At that abyssal floor, immense pressure creates an absolute stillness. Even if a Category 10 hurricane ravages the surface, capsizing massive vessels, the deep undercurrent shifts with absolute composure, rhythm, and unyielding consistency. The organisms of the deep grow according to natural law, entirely unbothered by the roaring tempest above. An individual with an autonomous mind has meticulously established this abyssal floor within their soul. The surface of their consciousness is not an inanimate pane of glass. They still vibrate before beauty, grieve before human suffering, and experience ripples of emotion when confronting obstacles. Autonomy does not strip away their humanity, rather, it renders it complete. But the ultimate distinction resides here. The floor of their heart remains quiet. They recognize that those surface ripples are merely temporary expressions, while their authentic essence is the vast, deep ocean underneath. When confronting a crisis, Instead of forcing a rigid facade of strength, a state of friction that is both exhausting and brittle, the autonomous individual chooses to align with the evolutionary rhythm of nature. They comprehend that every phenomenon in this universe possesses a cycle, a birth, a peak, and an inevitable decay. When a negative energy arrives, they do not attempt to deport or suppress it into the basement of the unconscious. They receive it as a component of life's current, observing it with intellectual benevolence and allowing it to self-transmute. This stillness bears no trace of apathy or the evasion of responsibility. It is a constructive composure. From the depths of this stillness, a crystalline vision is forged. The autonomous individual perceives the true nature of reality, unwarped by personal prejudices or inherited fears. They know precisely when to execute action with the velocity of a torrential waterfall, and when to patiently accumulate energy like a subterranean stream silently flowing through the earth. The shift from external to internal. The odyssey toward an autonomous mind is, in essence, a silent revolution, a total migration of the existential axis from the external world back to the internal realm. From infancy, we are programmed to hunt for external validation, grades from instructors, the satisfaction of parents, the admiration of peers, and later, income brackets, social status, or digital metrics of interaction. We inadvertently hand the master key of our self-worth to anonymous directors. When others applaud, we feel valuable. When they turn away or judge, we instantly drop into the abyss of isolation and amnesia. This is a highly perilous lifestyle, for external reality is a volatile variable completely beyond our jurisdiction. Ancient Stoicism demarcated a strict boundary. There are things within our control, our thoughts, beliefs, desires, and actions, and things outside our control, the weather, the economy, reputation, and the minds of others. Human suffering is largely birthed from our futile attempts to control what lies outside our grasp, while simultaneously abandoning the garden of our own interior. An autonomous mind begins to crystallize the moment an individual perceives this truth and revokes their surrendered sovereignty. They realize that periods of solitude are not a punitive sentence, but a consecrated interval to return home, to decode the authentic frequencies of the soul that were previously drowned out by the white noise of the crowd. Instead of viewing failures or stumbles as stains to be concealed or errors to be frantically corrected in a panic, the autonomous individual welcomes them as premium raw materials to architect new experiences. They ask upward trending questions. What lesson is this crisis attempting to instruct me on? Or, how can a green shoot of wisdom ascend from this parched earth? When the coordinates of life are successfully relocated from the external theater back to the epicenter of the self, a true liberation is born. You no longer need to exhaust yourself playing roles that do not belong to you merely to accommodate the public eye. You begin to walk the earth on your own 2 feet, stable and unhurried. The caliber of an autonomous mind is not measured by how many competitors you have outpaced in the rat race of fame and capital, but by how many times you have mastered yourself before the temptations and fluctuations of existence. This is a state of profound self-containment, where humans realize that the safest harbor, the brightest lighthouse for this expedition, resides nowhere external, but directly within their own consciousness. Your companionship is the vital energy that sustains and drives the profound values we are co-architecting. Thank you for the intervals you have carved out to listen, perceive, and view existence from these expanded horizons. The old lessons are concluding to clear the space for a new arena of experience. I shall meet you on our next Odyssey, where we will continue to harvest the grit of an autonomous mind, standing unshakable before all mutations of reality. May you always safeguard your own internal wisdom,